Hi, I'm Stijn, and I'd like to invite you on a journey of becoming human again. This podcast explores what truly makes us human beyond money, beyond success. What can we learn from a cult leader, a chef, a stand-up comedian, or the CEO of a global enterprise? Each episode offers fresh perspectives to help you live and lead with more depth, authenticity, and fulfillment, and ultimately to rediscover what it means becoming human again.
Hello listeners, and hello Stijn. I'm really looking forward to this afternoon. We've had many great conversations, and now I get a formal chance to sit down and have a wonderful conversation with Stijn. Now Stijn, you're launching a new podcast to become human again, off the back of your new book. Very excited to sit down and have the conversation with you.
Well, I'm honored and pleased to be here, Scott, and I'm really looking forward to this first episode of the new podcast, Becoming Human Again. And well, the aim is to just give people some insights and reflection on what the podcast will be about, and some more reflections on the book. And I'm sure you have a very inquisitive mind. So I'm looking forward to your questions.
I'm looking forward to learning some more. It's always been an insightful conversation. Before we dive into the book, I thought it'd be nice to go back to the first time that we met. It kind of sits nicely with the ethos of the book as well. I'm not sure if you remember, but we were at a networking event. We were in Antwerp, and we had the networking app fired up. Everyone was connecting. Received a few messages, and received a message from you saying, we should meet, we should connect. And it was one of those afternoons where I was really feeling like disconnecting from the networking life and having a really genuine conversation and connection. So I said, love to meet up, but you'll have to find me on the dance floor, which is where we met.
Yeah, now I do remember the sentence. Which is what we did. And I bought you a Trappist, didn't I? Or
you
a
certainly
Duvel or
did.
something?
Yeah, a lovely Belgian beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was great. And I really think that is a great example of the way the friendship started.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Stijn, becoming human again, does this imply that at some point you weren't a human?
Great question. Well, it all depends on how you define human. And I think I hadn't discovered what a human being truly is, or what it can be, and how, or what I hadn't seen yet, or what I hadn't discovered on what a human being can consist of. And of course, I have my body, and you have relations, and you have friends, and you have work, and you have your daily life, and your daily routines. But it took me a while to realize that there is much more than the things that we see, that we hear, that we experience with our five senses. You know, we smell, we taste, we touch. And there's a beautiful movie, The Sixth Sense, and you can watch the movie and quite understand mentally what it means to have a sixth sense. But it was only recently, since a couple of years ago, that I truly find out that, you know, there's way much more than all these five senses. People call it intuition, people call it God experiences, higher consciousness, higher self, or whatever. But the belief that there is something more than just what we see and what we experience in the material world. And for me, that is a revelation that was a revelation, and I'm still experiencing it. You know, it never ends, because once you see that there is so much more than what we experience, it is endless, it is limitless. So in a way, I started searching for this, where is the end of the limitlessness? You know, which of course is ridiculous, because and I think that is for me why I wrote the book Becoming Human Again, and also why I started this new podcast, Becoming Human Again, and to see and to go in discussion and conversations with people what they experience as the ultimate sign of a human being. What is that? And I'm really looking forward, because there are already great guests ahead. Really happy to have this conversation with you, because there's so much more to explore and so much more to experience into the unknown.
Mm. And what do you think's next? What's if you look into the unknown that's ahead? Is there anything that's at your fingertips you'd like to learn more about, or what's the next quest?
You know, before this conversation, we had a chat with ChatGPT, and so I had already a reflection on what's next, and I'm really curious about where is this thing going with AI, and where is the human spirit, the human consciousness going to? Because, you know, we come from a tribe life in the forests, and, you know, the close family, we're getting more individualized. Yet you see at the same time that people start to believe more, there's more spiritual life, that people are getting more conscious. And I'm not just not only consciousness in the way that we are aware of the climate change, but being more conscious about ourselves and how we interact with each other, how we interact with this planet, how we interact with the universe. And I'm really interested to see where this is bringing us. You know, you can have very deep connections. And I always take the example of these big birds that fly from Japan over the Himalayas. They do it on a scale of the magnitude, the resonance of Earth magnifiers or magnetism, and that is also the energy that we can thrive on. It's, for example, when you call somebody and he says, "Oh yeah, I was just thinking about you." You know, this secret or magical life. You know, these things that happen that you say, where is this coming from? And I'm sure that there is much more of that we are not aware of.
I look forward to learning as you go on that journey. It's I have those moments too often in my life. Well, not often enough, I guess. It's quite lovely when you get that phone call, and it's a moment meant to be. I'm going to jump straight into a key topic. You mentioned it a few times in the opening, about God, the spirituality, the different beliefs there. Could I be as bold as to ask you what God means to you?
I thought that one was coming at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, again, whether you call it God or consciousness or self or whatever, for me, it is the deepest belief that ultimately we are all connected in love. And that the world and the universe as it exists now, what we see often very bad things happening. And if you look at the news or the external world, one might think that there is only polarity and sadness and horror in this on this planet. Yet I really do believe, and call it God or Spirit, that at the end all is good. And that is a thing that is sometimes really, really, really hard when you know, and we are all confronted with difficulties in life, with that, with getting fired, with being bullied, with rape or whatever, with incest, or with all these things that are shocking us humans as at the end, all is good. And not only at the end, even in the beginning. And I think that is for a lot of people, and also for me, sometimes really hard to hold on to that feeling or to hold on to that belief. Yet I think it's the ultimate driver for, call it success, call it for a life of fulfillment. Yeah.
So if we if we're good from the start until the end, would imply that there's good throughout. Now, I definitely have had moments where I've seen or thought, I guess, the other side may not be good. How do you find that goodness when you can't see it at the moment?
Well, it's interesting when you say, or we see bad in another, or bad. It is a reflection of your inside. This summer, I was with an Indian guru. I like to explore all these kind and weird people. And he said, we are so focused on having the forests destroyed, the Amazon destroyed, and the Congo and whatever. And he said, but there is still this one tree here. Isn't this a lovely tree? And that was for me such an eye-opener, because you can feel very sad, and doesn't imply that we shouldn't do anything about it. Not at all, on the contrary. But we should still see that one single tree that's still left, and be grateful for that one single tree. Because we're all sad about the forest that is disappearing, but there are still trees. And this tree is giving us oxygen. So even when all these bad things happen, it's where do you want to focus on? Where's your attention? And again, because a lot of people might consider this as being a neglect of what is happening, or deny what is happening, which it isn't, and it should not withhold us from taking action. The forest should not be destroyed. Let's make that clear. But we should still see the beauty in what is left, what is still here.
I love that. It's being able to see the beauty, but also take action to grow more of it.
And that's what I describe in the book as well. It's concerning the compassion. It is that what is feeling compassion about that the forest is disappearing, but you can do something about it. But you can still see the beauty of what is still here.
I love that. Before we come into the book, it might be nice for any new listeners to understand the background. You've had a wonderful career. You've had exposure to some other amazing minds. Could you just touch on kind of your journey that got you to here?
Oh, that's so long. I will try to keep it short. And again, there was one of my teachers who said, why do you want to know my past? It is irrelevant. But of course, people are interested in you. The storytelling is always, people want to hear stories. So storytelling is important. It's a way of connecting.
Yeah.
Yet this guy said, my past doesn't matter. But anyway, I like that sentence, because actually it doesn't matter. It's about who I am now. But it might be helpful to put things a little bit in perspective. So I was born in a tiny village in Flanders, raised in a middle class family, nice parents. I studied. My childhood was not always easy. I struggled with coming out as a gay man or a man-loving man. I prefer to say that than putting a label on. So that was kind of a struggle. I missed some years a year at school. And I didn't know what to do, actually. So I said, how can I be of service to others? I thought, okay, well, let's start studying nursing. I was very good at psychology, sociology, and all these courses that had to do with humans and connection. Yet I was very bad in practice and hospital. Very bad. And I couldn't handle the directiveness or the authority of the doctors, which is, I snapped on that one. So I continued with a master in hospital sciences, because I thought, okay, how can I be if I am the director of a hospital, I can change that mentality, just so we can be friendly to each other. So I did my master in the Catholic University. And there I learned a lot about the nicest trainings that I had there was about euthanasia and what is beyond. Why should we do that? Why not? And so I had a lot of courses on the faculty of theology, and I really adored that. But then again, I didn't know what to do, so I went on a quest in South America for 7 months with my backpack, just traveling and meeting people, connecting with people. And I discovered there that I wanted to combine these two passions of mine, which is with the human being and traveling and discovering. And so I continued with a year of tropical medicine, and then I started working with Doctors Without Borders. And I went off to all these terrible places in the planet to prove myself that I could do that. There was this I don't know, a kind of proof inside of me that I'm able to go to a war zone. Even if I am gay or I love men, I am able to do that. So I went to Burundi, Rwanda, Congo, Afghanistan, Indonesia, all these terrible places, which learned me a lot about interacting with people in the most difficult circumstances, with all kind of cultures and background, and just to tap into what is my job here? How can I assure that all these people, despite all the atrocities and all the misery that is happening, how can I make them feel comfortable and that they are able to do their job and they're still going home satisfied and that they can take care of their families. That was a little bit my goal. And I did that for several years. Then I went into HR. I was HR director. Then I did some other management positions in Belgium as well. And the last one did not end well because, in HR and management, you have the people manager and you have the directive manager. I was quite a people manager. And I had somebody above me who was quite more the other way. So we clashed a lot. So anyway, I was fired, but it brought me a lot on this journey now, and I'm very grateful that I got fired. I was very angry. I could shoot a woman, but it brought me on a journey of after 7 years writing a book.
And thankfully you did. So the book, and I have to thank you for this one. The English version is fresh off the press. Landed in my inbox a week ago, and it landed at one of the most chaotic times, a good chaotic time. But I really enjoyed and was very thankful for the moment to step away from work and dive into the book. It's not a book. Books are not something I often read twice, but this is one I will.
Thank you.
I think it's one of those ones where you can actually pull from it something new every time you read it based on situation, circumstance. So lovely read. So thank you for that one.
You're welcome.
You touch on some important topics throughout it. Could you talk through, you've got a 3-stage kind of structure to it. Could you talk through the thinking that brought that to life and what the meaning is behind it?
Well, the concept is called heart above head, because we live in a society where we worship science and we worship our mental thinking, which is good. It has brought us a lot of good stuff. We can cure people. We have AI. We developed a lot of things. I don't know if that's a good thing, but we can build bridges. We can build roads, and yet we have forgotten what it is to live with our heart. And there is this woman, I don't know if you know her, Helen Keller. You know her? She was born in 1880, I think. And after 7 months, she got blind and deaf. And her parents were so loving to her that she learned herself with teachers to speak and to write again. And so she wrote several books. There was even made a movie about her, The Miracle Worker, I think. And she said, the most important and beautiful things in this world cannot be seen or cannot be heard or cannot be touched. They can only be felt with the heart. And I think that comes to the essence of the book, when I was writing it, and I was at a friend's place, and suddenly I saw this heart, I was just signing it with 4 words. It's just gratitude, authenticity, compassion, and freedom. And it was like, okay, these 4 are the gateways. This is the essence of the heart. Just came out. So this concept came from my heart. And of course, after 10 minutes, it was like, oh, are these truly the 4 ones? Maybe I should bring in courage, or maybe I should bring in the liver. What is the liver? What are the lungs doing? So I got completely in my head, start thinking about, and I said, no. My heart said, these are the 4 core values. This is the way that learns you and that gives you the possibility to open up your heart again and to truly feel what is life about. Your God space, if you would, consciousness of you, whatever you would like to call it. So, and in the book, in the first chapter, I describe these 4 core values as chambers of the heart. In the second part, there are keys, there are 10 keys that describe how you can open the heart and unlock the heart and get into these 4 chambers. And then the third part of the book is the fundamental of the heart. And that is about self-love. The heart loves. The heart loves to be loved. And you can only love yourself. And it is so difficult because, even last week I asked to an audience, what do you do when you lose your keys? Maybe I can ask you, what do you do when you lose your keys? What do you say to yourself?
Where are my keys?
Well, you're a good one. You have already an open heart. But many said, I get angry at myself. And I forgot my keys again. Stupid me. And this is the way that we often talk to ourselves. A way that we would nobody allowed to talk to us. We wouldn't accept it. If somebody said to you, you lost your keys, you're stupid man. We would slap him in the face and would say, bye-bye, never talk to you again. Yet we have this kind of self-talk to ourselves. And this is an example, there are 10 fundamentals of how to be more self-loving. So that's the structure, the 4 chambers, the keys to the heart, and the fundamental of self-love.
It's a brilliant read. It's there's so many questions off the back of this. I think I printed off 40 pages of questions, literally. I'm going to grab one of the first words that came through, a word that's repeated throughout it, courage. Can we start with what does courage mean to you?
Well, courage for me, it is not like a physical act of bravery, of, I can jump out of a plane. It takes courage to do so, but it is the physical courage, which is not the courage that I'm talking about. For me, courage is doing the thing that you need to do, not what you have to do. It is doing the thing that you're scared of, that you're ashamed of. And it is doing the thing that helps you to get rid of frustrations, of anger, of sadness, and that lifts you up into another emotion of joy. For example, of joy, of love, of kindness, of compassion. For example, it took a lot of courage those days to come out to my parents as a man who loves a man. I prepared a lot of things and I avoided the conversations for many years. Yet at a certain moment you feel that, that it is hindering you. It is blocking you to live freely. It is blocking you to really experience who you are when we come to freedom. And then it takes courage to really stand out there. And many people did before me, luckily, because otherwise it would, I think, it would have been more difficult. Yeah, that still is a difficult topic for many people these days to speak out and to come out. But it gives so much relief. You know, when you have a secret, and we all have secrets, to share it with somebody and to speak about it. But it takes courage to pass the ego of the comfort, the shame, and the anxiety that comes along, because you don't know what will happen afterwards. It is often, the courage to accept that there is an unknown, and that it is good to unknown, to go into the unknown, and to be curious what it will bring. Not out of fear, you can feel it, but the unknown is so beautiful, because that's where the magic happens.
The unknown is the area where we grow and learn.
Yeah. And when I told my parents, my mother said, my father was a little bit, but he was, I can understand. And my mother said, Stijn, but we still love you. I think that was the first time that she really pronounced it in that way. So you see, even when you feel ashamed of something beautiful might happen. In most of the cases it does. Maybe not immediately, but on the long term. When you feel it in your heart that it is the right thing to do, eventually the good thing will follow.
Now, I really want to come back to secrets, because you mentioned that one. But before we do, from a courage point of view, because I think there's some nice lessons learned through that process. And I think courage is not something, it doesn't come easy at any stage in life.
No.
Maybe later in life it gets a bit easier, but I don't think at any stage it's easy. You've interviewed and supported and met with quite a lot of people going through big personal and professional journeys. Can I ask, both on a professional and a personal journey, have you come across any stories that really resonated with you, where someone went through that moment of courage and it was a nice, from an outsider's perspective, it was a nice lesson of the benefits of taking that courage?
Absolutely. I remember the conversation with, I forgot her name now, but she is the CEO of the International Banking Federation. I think it's podcast 60. I forgot her name. Anyway, and she starts the podcast with her personal story of abuse, of alcoholism in her family, and the violence that she had in her family. But she tells it in such a beautiful way, and all the processes that she went through after, the psychotherapists, psychiatrists, and how it helped her to have the courage to continue in life, and to even go to university and to make something out of her life. And for me, she was one of the persons that overcame what we call the victimhood. She made something really beautiful of her life despite everything that happened to her. And the fact that she brought it up at the beginning of the podcast was for me like, my goodness, but you are the CEO of the World Banking Federation, and that's this thing that you start with? I was like, shocked, flabbergasted. I was like, wow, I find it so courageous that a woman in that kind of position, and I immediately want to add that it doesn't depend on a position of somebody, because everybody is faced with these kinds of things, or can be faced with these kinds of things. So it doesn't require to be in a high position or in a, but it definitely, it hit me.
The courage to be human again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's I feel like there's a saying I've always loved: refiner's gold. The finest gold has to go through the hottest heat.
Yeah.
It's amazing how sometimes those challenging life journeys create some of the most amazing people.
Yeah, and I often wondered, because in one of my jobs I was the general director of one of the biggest youth institutions in Belgium, and I often wondered, do we really have to go through all kind of misery to evolve or to learn or to become? And name Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, the big names. And they made it in their way. And it doesn't mean that you're in a big position or a high position. I think it's a task or the responsibility of each one of us to see what kind of trauma or a thing do I have to let go, and where am I the victim, and where can I thrive, and how can I use these kinds of feeling of frustration, of sadness, of fear, of anxiety, how can I use it to transform it into something beautiful?
Not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It is, it takes courage. It is absolutely. It takes a lot of courage, and I think in these days we live in a society that creates a lot of comfort. A lot of comfort. We have all the material wealth in the world, and a lot of the most wealthiest people are very unhappy.
Mm. It's interesting. I have a theory that Maslow's hierarchy of needs has been outdated. It doesn't include, it was always money for the greater benefit. Now we have the money with ease and the original benefits of community, family, belonging, purpose.
Yeah.
Drop to the wayside.
Yeah. And would you say that it's not a pyramid anymore? What do you make out of it?
I think there's the other half of the pyramid that's missing, because at the moment it's very materialistic, which now comes easily. When it was drafted, people would put a suit or a dress on lay-by. So it was to then go out for a nice dinner to celebrate something, where we can celebrate whatever we want, whenever we want.
Absolutely.
So it's
and I think that are the traps in life these days. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. At the end of the day, $1 billion or $1 million or $1 in the bank or €1 in the bank doesn't bring us back to life.
It helps because we all have to eat.
Yes. Yeah. So a little bit is nice. Yeah.
A little bit of it is nice. That's true.
Now, secrets. You're a man who's very open. You share a lot and give a lot. Do you have any secrets for us?
Do I have secrets? Well, the thing about secrets is it is important to be very conscious about whom you share them with. Not all secrets have to be shared in a public space. But you do have to share them with somebody. Are there secrets? In Dutch, my book is called If Money and Success Don't Make You Happy, What Will? And I often have myself the struggle of, I need a little bit more money, or I want more money. And then I look in my bank account, how much money is there? I'm like, maybe I should do something to have a little bit more money. So, and I do like the process of, I think I heard this somewhere in an interview with Oprah and somebody else, but if you want to learn something, you teach it. So all these kinds of books are actually there to what I've written is to teach me what is my view towards money. Because let's face it, we all, I can only speak for myself. Let's speak for myself. I will not speak for others. But I often, regularly, I feel like, maybe I would like to go to Australia to have a trip and visit friends and to New Zealand, but I can't afford it right now.
You only need a ticket. Once you get to Australia, the rest is sorted.
And, you know, and then I start thinking, but is that really true?
Mm.
Is it really true what I'm thinking? And that is where the conscious mind comes in. Because we often tell ourselves that it isn't possible. And I can tell you, if I reflect on it, well, I can do it. But do I make it a priority? Do I really give it the importance that I'm giving it in my mind? And so, because, you know, I could sell my car and go to Australia. I could live there for 1 year, I don't know how long, maybe half a year if I sell my car. So it's all a questions about, it's not the question about the money. It is a question about how intentional do I live, and do I really live the life that I want to live? Does my heart tell me that am I needed in Australia? Is it good for me to go to Australia? Maybe not now, maybe in the future, but it is okay if I don't go now. But I will go there. And then the money will come. So I think it is really to be reflective on what is it that I want to do? What is my heart telling that I want to do with my life? And I have full confidence, and I know that's probably something very easy to say, that the money will always follow.
Mm.
And I will give you an example. I think it was when I turned 50, I organized a party celebrating 50 years of love. And I was really a little bit low on cash these days. Yet I wanted to have friends over. I have quite an international community, and I wanted to have friends over to come over for the weekend, and I wanted to have them a nice place to sleep. And I wanted to do it to have it somewhere in the forest, in nature. So I said, okay, I'm going to rent a nice chalet with 30 rooms, nice, and I want them to have the best food, biological, good food cooked with love. But how am I ever going to pay for this? You know? I said, no, we'll see. I'm just going to organize it. And I think it was 3 weeks before the actual event that I got a big new assignment, which made me able to pay for all the bills.
Now, I think I met you a year or two too late for that one.
Yeah. And it was not that I wanted to brag off with the beautiful place, but that I felt it truly intentionally. No, I want to really have a beautiful space, a beautiful birthday with all my friends, and just celebrating the life.
I love that. Was it a special night?
I can assure you. I'm looking forward to becoming 60.
I like this. That one I can make.
Absolutely. You're already invited.
Thank you. A personal reflection on that one. Losing the golden handcuffs or losing the golden cage. I quit my first job 3 times. I was working as a consultant for the federal government. And in that process, significant pay increases every time. And then on the 3rd time, I thought, no matter what the money is, I need to quit because it's not in my heart.
Yeah.
Mum thought I was mad. She's like, keep going at this rate and you'll buy a house very quickly. But it wasn't the right place for me. Literally cut my paycheck in half, and it was the best decision I'd ever made. Learnt the most and wouldn't be here without it. So yeah, it's following the heart with a little bit of common sense.
And then you left for Belgium, no?
And I left for Belgium.
And now you end up here.
This is a great journey. Now, if we come back to secrets, because I think secrets are you talk about it in the book about how it can weigh heavily on you, and it can really be detrimental to your overall happiness and to some extent, to a large extent, your overall success.
Absolutely.
Could you share a bit more about the impact of secrets and how to deal with it?
Well, you know, when you have a secret, you cannot be fully yourself. And people feel that. And people will become a little bit suspicious on who is this guy? You know, there is something, and I think that is and any human being can feel that. That is the energy of a human being. When people truly feel, is he fully open or is he hiding something? And when, I don't know for you, but when I feel that somebody's hiding, I'm not saying that I don't get suspicious. I get curious because then I want to know what is this? What is behind the hidden wall or behind the wall that has been constructed? So I try to wiggle. Do you say that in England? To wiggle out?
Yeah.
To wiggle and to find out what is it? What is this problem? That's why I'm in the coaching business. You know, it's my job actually to wiggle and to be curious.
Professional.
But it's not always takes it. Not everybody is very pleased with the wiggling and the curiosity. You know, sometimes you just have to accept that people build walls for protection, and it's not up to me to, if not asked, to tear down the wall. But to come back to what impact it has. So if you build a wall around yourself because you want to keep your secrets, well, nobody can enter. And you cannot leave and experience life. You know, it's not a physical wall. It's a kind of a mental, energetic wall that you build around yourself, but it disconnects you from the life as it is. It limits you to feel the joy, the happiness of the life, or the true life. And I think we have been in our society where we all go to school and we have our parents who have raised us, but they have also built us, that has also given us certain convictions and ideas and a mindset that is not always useful or in service. So I think having these secrets, it disconnects you from what life really is about.
No, I've committed a sin that's in your book, and that's about stimulus. My phone keeps on buzzing, so I'm going to turn this off. It's I really enjoyed that part in your book where it was talking about the ongoing impact of the regular stimulus in our life.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn from you. You mentioned there about going through the education system and being brought up, and there's convictions that come into our life. What are some convictions that you would like to go back and tell the younger version of you? Maybe think about that one yourself.
That's a good one. I think the most important one is that when I worked with Doctors Without Borders, I was often asked to become the head of mission of countries. And in these days, I was like, it's too high for me. I was once asked to become the national president of the biggest youth movement. They did an interview, but before of the biggest youth movement in Belgium, and they did an interview, and I was like, "No, it's. I will not have the time for it." Or I think there are better candidates, and I think I would have told myself that no, just jump in. That's what I do now. Just jump in and see what it brings. You know, even if you have all these ideas that you cannot manage, or that you're too not smart enough or not experienced enough, I would say now, just jump.
Mm-hmm.
The same with the book, you know. I never would have considered myself as an author.
Thankfully, you did. How does a younger person? So this is a personal bias, maybe. As a younger person, we don't have all the keys that you mentioned in the book, or we're still shaping them. They're still raw materials. How does someone find those keys within themselves at a younger stage?
Surround yourself with the people who have already found them, and learn from them. And this might sound a little bit harsh, but try to avoid the people who bring you down, who take you down, or say that you're good. It's enough like it is. You know, you have a good job. Just stay with it. And I would say, look out for the people who encourage you, who stimulate you, not in a artificial way, but in a way that you feel that he truly believes you. And at the same time, be very critical, giving you honest feedback, and not just going along because he wants you to like him. Yeah.
It's something I really appreciate in life is honest feedback. It's the art of open communication is a wonderful gift.
And not easy.
No, it's not. No.
Well, in a way, once you learn it, it gets very easy.
Yeah.
It's just a practice, actually. You see how easy it goes in your mind, because I immediately reply, it's not easy. It is easy.
Yeah.
But we're learned that it is not easy. And and even in this very moment, I have the mistake. But I'm trained myself to immediately notice what I'm saying. So it is very easy. You just have to practice it. It's like brushing your teeth. Just do it every day.
I love that. It almost brings a deeper or an additional meaning to becoming human again for me as well. Because to become human again is also to accept that we're on a journey. We're still learning.
Exactly. I could hit myself for the head now that I said it is not easy. And that, I said something wrong in the podcast. Shit. I could continue for hours in my head now, but then again, it is like it is not a perfect book. It is a good book, I think.
Oh, it is.
And I believe it is the perfect book. No, it isn't. Am I perfect? No, nobody. But I think in the book I speak about the imperfect perfect. Like this moment, the way that we are speaking, it's the perfect conversation. We cannot have another conversation than this conversation. So even with the little flaw, it is perfect.
It's real.
So
yeah, I really love it. The perfect book wouldn't be perfect because it'd be too long.
Absolutely.
The hunt for perfection. It's the self-love. It's a really important part of the book. It's an important part of life. The journey to feeling like you'd found self-love. Do you think you've mastered it?
No.
Yeah. More than most.
I get quite well at it.
Definitely more than most.
Definitely more than most.
Yeah.
And like even this morning, I slept very well. I slept for 8 hours, and it was really. And this morning there was this I had a meeting scheduled with somebody, and he canceled. I think 10 minutes before, and I was like, no. Why did he cancel? Maybe he didn't want to speak to me. You get all these ideas, and I saw myself bringing down. So I got into this low energy, like, let's check Facebook. So I checked Facebook for 5 minutes, and I said, no, Stijn, we're not going that way. Just prepare your podcast for the afternoon and just go full in again. And you see, I still have these moments that you feel like, and it is often related, at least for me, but I see with most of the clients that I work with as well, in moments of rejection. Because the rejection is something, or that you consider as a rejection. Somebody doesn't show up in a call. Somebody doesn't answer your call immediately. Somebody doesn't reply on your WhatsApp. You're like, why is he not? You have all these thoughts coming up about yourself not being good enough. You wrote the wrong message or whatever. And I think staying out of that mental rehearsal and the mental circus, the monkey brain, recognizing the monkey brain in your head and staying out of it and just saying, okay, no, what's the next thing to do? It's not about me. It's not about him. It's just what's happening.
Now here's a nice learning curve for me. The balance between caring and not caring. Because you have so on one hand, don't care that the person didn't turn up or there was a rejection, but then also caring in the sense of why, not from a me point of view, but from, is there something in their life? Is this... So how to care without caring?
Well, this comes with the emotion that you attach to the word care. And just seeing that somebody doesn't answer your phone or doesn't enter in your call. So it is interesting to see why you consider it as something not that you have to care about. It is just a fact that he didn't show up. What you could do is how I'm going to reply to it. In a way that comes from your heart. How am I going to reply? Because you could say, no, not interested. Then you're not caring. And I think the caring part, as the way that you describe it, is just saying, what would love do? What would my heart do? But often the caring is entails a little bit of pleasing, which I think is in these kinds of situations not always the best approach. If you just look at it from a perspective of what's happening, what really happened, just stay to the facts. What's the best approach, or what's the best response I can give from the heart? And that's the difference between a reaction and a response. Often when we react from an emotion, but a response from the heart is always the right one.
Can you think of a moment, either in your life or someone along your journey, where someone has potentially gone down the reaction and then been able to consciously pull themselves back and go with the response? And how, and probably more importantly in that learning, is how to teach yourself or how to develop that.
You want me to give an example of somebody else or of myself?
Whichever comes to your heart.
I think this one people will recognize. I had to buy a fridge from IKEA to replace it in my apartment. And so I called the customer service of IKEA. And you first have to wait 5 minutes I always have to wait 5 minutes. So you feel already, oh my God, if I have to wait for 5 minutes. Then there's the person on the line. Oh, sorry, I cannot help you. I will connect you with somebody else. Okay, good. You feel already, you're getting a little bit more burning up, or your heart is starting. Okay, then the second person comes online. Oh, sorry, this is not my department. They connected you wrongly. Third person. Waiting line already. We're 20 minutes further. And then the third person comes, and then I said, okay, stay still, just remain calm, just listen what you had to say. And then he just said, I think you better go to a shop and ask somebody over there. So after 30 minutes, I was like, okay, good. Okay, how can I make this a nice journey to go to IKEA, which I don't like, by the way, to go to the shop. But anyway, okay, make a nice journey out of this one. And so I went 1 week later to the IKEA, a nice person. And he even said, you even get a discount for the delivery of the fridge. I said, okay, good. So I'm going to order it. And so back home, I entered the website. I was really happy. Back home, I entered the website of IKEA, but there was no button for the delivery, or there was a button for the delivery, but not for the discount. So I had to call the customer service again. Guess what? 1, 2, 3 persons, half an hour. And at the third person, I couldn't hold it anymore. I was like, please, I'm glad you're here. And I know it is not your fault, but I really would like to express my frustration now. So I was like, you are really bad at customer service. And I really expressed, and I said, let me vomit. Just for 1 minute, let me vomit. It's not on you. I just have to express my emotion. And so I did for 2 minutes. And I don't know if it was because she's Dutch or not, but we had a beautiful conversation afterwards. She even gave me more discount.
That's amazing.
So to answer your question, it is becoming really aware of what is happening in your body. Is it the frustration? And finding a way to express it. Without putting it on the other one. Mm. Acknowledging that it is not the other one, it is you who has to manage the emotion. Because all these people, they can, it's not their fault that the system has fucked up in IKEA. It's not their fault. They're trying to do their job. At least that's what I keep on believing. So it is being aware of what the emotion is doing with you, and then acting upon it, responding upon it in a way that is also acceptable for you, but also for the other one. Mm. And sometimes I really need to express it in a vocal way. Sometimes it's just breathing. It's just I breathe, I count to 10, all these there are many ways to calm your nervous system. So it is being aware about what is happening in your body and your emotion, and knowing the ways, what is a good way to react or respond.
So there's a lot in that. So it's one thing to be able to learn how to communicate. There's an expression that I really loved, which is, we're playing the ball, not the person. Mm. So being able to express that maybe not pleasant conversation, or the having a point of tension, but being able to have it on the topic, not the person, which is a hard enough journey to do it ourselves and within ourselves. But then you also elevate up to help leaders lead that, and often large organisations. I guess the question is, what are the tricks around? What's the advice around how to, first of all, master it within yourself, but then master it as a leader so that it goes within the entire organisation?
Yeah. Well, the old Greek philosophers said it already, know thyself.
Mm.
And I know that sometimes I have a lot of fire, which bring good things and maybe sometimes less good things. So when I said that I had to vomit my emotion out, it is my fire. And some people have a lot of fire. So please don't... if people are aware of that, even as a leader, people need to know your response mechanisms. Some people are very quiet, or they withdraw, they don't speak anymore. I tend to speak. Some people remain silent and they turn completely inwards. So you have to know your own response mechanisms or your reaction mechanisms. Is it a freeze mechanism? Is it a fight mechanism? What kind of mechanisms do you use in stressful situations? And make your people aware of it, so they can help you. For example, if you're stressed and you block yourself and you're not communicating anymore, make sure that your assistant is able to tell you, Scott, you're in a silent mode. Is there anything that you need to share? Find ways, find other people to help you with it. We are not all Nelson Mandelas or Obamas or, who seem to be perfect in speeching and handling people, but I'm sure they aren't. So it is getting to know yourself in the way that you respond or react to stressful situations and involve other people with it. And ask people, what if your way, how can you respond? Just go and search and try different methods.
There's some learnings in that. It's, I'm sure that even the greatest speakers have their moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are human. The loving yourself, really getting to that core, to find where that is. I'm going to pause on that question. I feel like it needs to be more meaningful. I didn't have an end goal with that one. What's the essence, to frame the question? What's the essence what's the most important lesson you think you want to give through that chapter?
Now that is a great question. I would say the first thing that comes in mind is it all starts with yourself. And, we have this learned conviction from society that is egoistic. That when it starts with yourself, you're being egoistic and selfish. But this is another way of looking at yourself. The self-love is about deeply caring for yourself so you can care for others. You cannot start to care for others or be there for others or being in service of others or for the world or for whatever you do in the world if you're not in service of yourself. And it is often mistaken by, the materialistic, egoistic self-love. I need a new car, I need a new house because I want this or want that. That is the self-love. That's not the true, authentic self-love. The self-love is that you love yourself fully, in any capacity that you can. And with all the flaws that you think are flaws. But often when you ask others, they often don't consider it as flaws. So I think that is, it starts with you and you are good enough. You're perfect as you are now. We can all grow, of course. But in this moment, You're perfect, Scott. We have the perfect editor here and the perfect me. And that's very... when I say this, I hear myself saying, Stijn, you just said on your podcast that you're perfect. And that's interesting. Because I don't think that a lot of people would say... Well, I think it's the first time that I say it in public. I'm perfect. You know? I'm perfect. You're perfect. Everybody's perfect.
You are.
Well,
it's in that. So, switching into something I heard about recently. We spoke, and you'd just come off stage doing a keynote speech.
Mm-hmm.
We only touched on it briefly, but would love to hear more about that. You're stepping into the keynote space. What was the context? What was the message?
Well, it was the keynote at the ETIAS Sustainability Week. ETIAS is one of the biggest insurance companies in Belgium. So that was a keynote about the book, about how one can love more, how one can live more from the heart, how one can work more from the heart. And so for me, the intention was to bring a keynote where everybody could feel the energy of that living from the heart is a way that is possible, acceptable, and more important, is the way for a better future.
Now, delivering that in a corporate setting is not an easy task, I can imagine.
Well, it went very easy, very smoothly. I don't know. I think I managed quite well because it's a topic near to my heart. But it's in my heart. It's not only near in my heart. And when you bring a message that you truly believe, or that you feel this is what I need to do in life, whatever it is, then you can do it in any circumstance. It doesn't matter if it is a corporate, even before the king, even for Trump. It makes you fearless when you do what your heart is telling you to do. Makes you fearless. So big companies, my intention is to touch people in a way. And if I manage to touch one person's heart, it's one person.
And how did the corporate audience react, or how did the audience react? Because they're human as well.
Absolutely. And I must say, for me, a reference, if you can capture your audience, is by the number and the times that people check their phones. Always that these days that's the best reference, I think. And they didn't. And I think that's I really felt connected with the audience, and I think it is very hard when you speak of the heart, from the heart. Maybe Trump wouldn't react, or Putin. I mean, some people, but most people, they know what it is. They know what it is.
Were there any questions at the end?
Yes, and it was mainly it was about the part on compassion. they didn't quite agree on. They said, when you show compassion, it means that you don't have to do anything. You just sit and have pity or have mercy. No, mercy is not the word. Have pity with people. But that is not the true meaning of compassion. It's like we said earlier. You can show compassion, yet you have to act upon it. Not from a frustration point of view or from an anger point of view, but from a loving kind of view. You can be very frustrated about, to come back to the forest, you can be very frustrated about the forest going down or disappearing. And you can react in a very bad way, doing protests and being very angry. But you can do it also from a loving kind of way, plant new trees. Or support an organization that's funding the replanting of the rainforest. That's a loving way. Not saying that protests don't matter. Yet I'm not so in favor of reacting on, how shall I say it? On acting with violence or frustration upon violence and frustration. You don't fight wars with wars. And of course, people will say that, yes, but we have to defend ourselves. And yeah, maybe in the short end, yes, but in the long end, no. Might sound very idealistic, but yeah, that's what I believe.
Maybe there's a different definition of strength. Fight strength with strength.
Yeah.
Maybe strength is in violence and nuclear bombs. Maybe strength is knowing your position and also knowing how to empathize and communicate with the opposition.
Yeah.
So that they're not.
Yeah, and that takes courage to find the strength, the right strength. It's often easier just to shout rather than to be wise. And
in those moments of wisdom, how does someone develop that wisdom? Because I was definitely someone who acted without thinking as a younger person. Not for good or for bad, or for good, with good intention at least. It's something you definitely develop over the years, I feel. Well, I definitely needed to develop it. How do you develop that, the art of listening or the art of not reacting?
Well, it all first starts with the intention. Do I really want to learn and to grow? And am I open to receive it? And then you follow your path. Are you willing to learn it? Because it comes sometimes with sacrifices, with not always not always the nicest or the easiest path to grow, and it's not. You don't have to do it, But that's the first step, and I would say, and I just take it step by step. It is. I have a card in my in my toilet. Even after enlightenment, you still have to do the laundry.
AI can't do that for us yet.
after this nice conversation, you have to go home and prepare the food and, clean the house. And in that is also wisdom. It's the wisdom of being mindful of what I'm eating. How am I cleaning? Do I do it with attention? Do I do it with love? That's also wisdom. Wisdom is not always in big words and the biggest philosophers. It's the wisdom of doing something consciously and with love. You can clean for 1 hour. That's what I used to do. And I hate cleaning. Or my garden. I don't like to do the garden. It's a waste of time. For 2 hours. The worst hours of my life. So I changed it. I love the garden and I love the cleaning. And that is the wisdom.
I like that. Having fun along the way.
Absolutely. Because, in that way, you honor yourself because you're speaking nice to yourself, but you're also speaking nice to what you're doing, to everything, to do the plants that you have to take care of, to your garden, you're sending love out to the world.
I did enjoy that in the book, the section about questioning when people have that business ethos of walking into the boardroom and not smiling for the first 10 minutes because it's statistically proven to give you a better deal. It's like, why can't you smile? It's why can't you have a genuine connection?
Yeah.
I've always found it funny how so many people question why your colleagues can be your best friends. The necessity for separation. And I think that's a big tell in someone, because if there's a separation, it means that one of those, or maybe both of those, have an element of not being genuine.
Absolutely. It's a great topic that you bring up of the separation. It's the work-life balance. It's an artificial thing. How can you not think about your children or about your parents who are in the hospital when you're at work? Not saying that you don't have to work, but it's something that is there with you. So, being human again, it means that you're human every moment. We're not the AI that's, and when you're at work, you can have the AI, but you have the human. And that means something different.
For me, it's definitely the best moments and often the most productive and successful when it's a genuine connection and you're enjoying it. I've always seen that there's a difference with when someone new joins a company. You can almost joke about, they've been here for 6 months, they've passed probation. Because you get to meet the true person, or you get to see a little bit more into that true person. How do you bring that out earlier? How do you make someone feel comfortable enough to know that they can
skip the probation?
Yeah. Still got to do the job.
Well, I wouldn't say that the person wasn't fully authentic before the probation, because he is what he is at that moment, trying to find a way to fit in. And we all have our doubts. When we start a new job or we start something new, all of our doubts, our fears. Is it going to be approved? Is it going to be disapproved? Or so we're finding ourselves on the way of like, what is this? So people are a little bit in a confusing mode, and I think we need to have some compassion for that. Because we all have been there. in these periods. So I wouldn't categorize it as not being authentic. It is actually fully human to be in a state that you're maybe, I hope they're not pretending, but being in a confusing mode, which we'll set out later. You know, that's so they're in a curve of what's happening here. They need to discover you as well, because you could evenly say, well, he's on probation, so I'm going to test him a little bit. So how authentic is the other one towards the one who is in probation?
Authentic leadership. More of it.
Absolutely.
I do feel maybe there's a key in that. Important for everyone to turn up their authentic self, and important to love yourself going into that moment or going into that life. But management holds an important position in that, making sure that person can feel vulnerable. We are human, but we've been hired to do a job. It's I've always kind of to that, but also more broadly, I've always loved the saying, I can't trust you unless you're a little bit weird. Because that's when you get to know who that person is.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Can't trust you unless you're a little bit weird. Okay.
Because if someone's perfect, maybe a serial killer. Like what's been hidden?
Yeah.
It's some of the most magical moments can be getting to know someone.
Let's be a little bit more weird.
I live my life weird.
I like that one. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Stijn, I always love learning. I love learning when we chat. I'd love to know how you approach the unknown. We're always on a journey. You are a coach, but then also you open yourself up to coaching. You take people on meditation camps, but you also take time to meditate and learn. You always seem to have a new book. So there's never a moment where you're not still on that quest. What does that journey look like for you? You've already gone a long way down that journey. What does the journey ahead look like? How do you walk that path?
Step by step. That's a very interesting question.
Maybe if I phrase it another way, if you were to have a coach, what would you ask them?
I do have a coach, of course. And I have many teachers. One of my latest teachers said to me, you are on a path of liberation. And I think that nailed it. The path of, I wouldn't say becoming perfect, but accepting the things as for what they are, without me labeling it from my background or from my history, but just seeing the essence of the life as fully perfect and love. And doesn't mean that you have to be free from judgment, but judgment when it is necessary. You know, when it is important to, I need a glass of water. Is this good water? And I want to do a podcast. Is this a good studio? I know, not judgment on people. Because so how is that journey for me? Sometimes it's beautiful, when you, it's like, like a child opening a surprise at Christmas. You know, it's like, wow, and it says, oh, this is nice, and it's, you know, it's a puzzle of 5,000 pieces, and wow, I can make a puzzle of 5,000 pieces, you know. And then he starts with it, and in the beginning, you know, you do the how do you say it, the square,
Yeah.
and you do the square. That's easy. That's the easy part. And then there are 4,500 pieces left. And then you start to assemble them by color or something.
Mm.
And then you have 500 pieces with exactly the same blue. And still you want to finish it. And then it gets tough. You know? Because you see where you want to go to. You just want to have the sky, you know, the blue sky of the puzzle. And then you have to persist and be disciplined and do it every 1 hour a day or something, whatever, how you plan to make your puzzle. And I think to finish that blue sky in the puzzle, well, might take a while, but then there is glory and full bliss.
Brings up one of our walks. We talked about the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Mm.
And we only started the conversation, but we touched on, is it the pursuit of happiness or the happiness of pursuit?
Mm.
Which is kind of playing into the metaphor of building out the puzzle. It's, what are your thoughts?
Well, again, it is on enjoying the moment of looking at that one of the 500 pieces of the puzzle. Now, this is a beautiful piece. Where would it fit? And I'm just going to try. Be curious. It's like Edison said, you know, I just tried 10,000 times and didn't fail. I just tried 10,000 times. And so it is just, it's not about the pursuit. It is about the happiness in that very moment.
Mm. Those moments in life are the special ones.
Absolutely.
And the more of them, the better. Did you have one of those moments today?
I think I had when... I think now, you know, just having a beautiful conversation and you know it's going to stop. But it is a beautiful conversation.
Mm.
So that's the moment of happiness. When I see you, when I look in your eyes, and it was a beautiful conversation.
If I have anything to do with it, it'll only be a pause until the next one.
Thank you. I think we have to finish up here.
Well, thank you. Can I finish on one last question?
Yes.
So to finish up, the 10 keys. Is there one in particular that was most meaningful or most loved for you?
Well, they're all loved and meaningful. Yet there is one in particular, I would say it's the sharing. And I've learned the last years, the more that I share, the happier I become. With the sharing, you create the opportunity for gratitude. It comes from the heart. It's really authentic, you know. You just share a meal, or you pay for a meal, or you just it brings you in a life of abundance. There's always enough. Just share, and I think it really creates a connection between people when you do the sharing unconditionally. You know, you don't share because you want something back. You just share because you love it and you love the other person. It's a huge heart opener. Absolutely. Sharing and giving.
It's a nice way to finish. Thank you for sharing with us today. I really enjoyed this moment. I enjoy every moment we have to catch up. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for being you.
Well, and thank you for taking the time. Honestly, I know you have a very busy schedule, So thank you for taking the time and for the preparation that you did. And yeah, looking forward to many more conversations.
Pleasure was all
for the
mine.
beautiful questions.
Thank you.
Bless you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Becoming Human Again. I hope today's conversation gave you fresh ideas about happiness, success, and what it means to live fully. If you enjoyed the episode, please follow, review, and share. And if you want to dive deeper, check out my book, Becoming Human Again, and connect with me on social media. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep becoming human again.